Welcome to the Free Game Don D podcast, life, family, and business.
Yes, yes. And today's topic is growth and gratitude. Now, you may be like, why are we talking about growth and gratitude? What's this going to be about? Somebody, not making any names, but somebody turned the big 5-0 on March 3rd. And listen, I am so ready to pick his brain. Young man, I need you to tell me, what is it? How is it to be 50? Tell me about your growth. Tell me about your gratitude, about making it to 50.
Well, I mean, wow. Definitely been doing a lot of reflecting as of late. And it's mainly because, I understand that being 50 is a milestone as far as age. But what I've tried to do is focus on everything that I've learned, lessons that I've learned, relationships that I've manifested and allowed to grow, people that I've even stopped having relationships with, like all of it, and I'm just super grateful for all of it, man. Nothing magically happened when I turned 50. I did get a letter in the mail from AARP, which I most certainly will be filling out. I want everything I'm supposed to be getting. So, but with that being said, you realize that in life, like when you have these milestones, the reflection of it is a combination and a culmination of several years prior to that. You start looking back, and like me being 50, I just feel like I'm in a position just to kind of cruise at this point because of a lot of failures in the past. The great thing about being young is that you got a lot of time to fail. So 20s, 30s, maybe even the early part of the 40s, failing, making mistakes, doing it early and often, and then getting to a point probably in my early 40s where life was just kind of like cruise control on the business side. And I will say personally, things got better once I began to know myself and married a life partner. A lot of people don't quite understand how important that is, man. Not necessarily to marry a spouse, but an actual life partner. So walking into certain parts of your life, you can walk into those parts a lot more refreshed, a lot more reassured because of decisions that you made 20s, 30s, and 40s. Good or bad, because even the bad ones I probably learned more from the bad ones than the good ones. The bad ones, they teach you what not to do and mistakes not to make. Those stick with you forever. And then you continue to grow upon all the good things, man. So being 50, I don't feel any different physically. But mentally, I just look back on everything that led me to this point and say, man, good job taking, failing, good job succeeding and putting all that together to make sure that you can live the rest of your life as the best of your life.
Yeah, that's great. You got me looking forward to turning 50. I hope I have these beautiful realizations when I turn 50.
Listen, man, people want to joke. They say, oh, man, you old. Listen, man, I'm old to some and young to others. I mean, I get it, man. I just know that everybody doesn't get the opportunity, to make it here. Yeah. So I'm grateful to make it here. But more so than that, there's a lot of gratitude in the journey. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what I take the most from being 50. I have a lot of gratitude and a lot of growth in the journey. And I think it's the journey that I'm most proud of. I didn't wake up on the morning of March the 3rd saying, man, I'm 50. I woke up saying, man, this journey it's been great. All the bad stuff, all the good stuff, it's all been great. It's if someone told me, Don, you would have to go through all of these things, but when you're 50, you're gonna be here. I said, good, sign me up, man. Sign me up, bro. And to come into my 50s and just kind of like be able to feed off of everything that was done prior to that. We're just kind of coasting here. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of folks, man, are just getting in their 50s and they're trying to figure life out. I'm not that guy. I figured this thing out for the most part, and I'm still constantly figuring things out. But the one thing that I figured out is I know who I am. The person that you're going to be with the most in life is yourself. And if you don't know that person, you're in trouble. But I know Donald Doe. And to me, that's the biggest blessing. Like, I know who I am. I know who I want to be around. I know who I don't want to be around. I know what I want out of life. I know what I want out of family. I know what I want out of business. I know exactly what I want out of these three things. And, and at this point, I'm just on autopilot. Yeah. So it's a blessing, but that's because of work that was done prior to now.
Yes. And see, what we're talking today about, growth and gratitude. And this, again, is at the age of 50. But you don't just start reflecting at age 50. It sounds to me like you've been doing some self-reflecting throughout your life to then be able to hone in and get to, at this point of 50, being able to see things so clear. You didn't just start looking 2 days ago. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you had to have been doing something. Checking off stuff and crossing.
Yeah, because shout out to people who ask me that. They say, Don, how do you feel, being 50? And man, I've been reflecting. I'm always reflecting. First of all, you know me well, and my friends know me well. I talk to myself a lot. So I'm always in constant reflection, thinking about things, jotting things down. If something pops in my head, I write it down on my notepad on my phone. I'm just constantly in reflection mode. The good and the bad, man. I take it all in. And I use it to help me grow. And so, like I say, turning 50 was just basically I just kept going. You know what I'm saying? So I probably reflected more on the day I turned 50 because it was such a big deal to people that were around me. Actually, for the, even when we had the surprise party for my business partners, they threw us, and that was great. I mean, I didn't see that coming, but I think because of that energy, and that started on Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, Saturday kicking in with my number one guys, my brothers, and then Sunday, you and the kids taking me to brunch. You really start reflecting on decisions you've made that make these people love you. And so I really was reflecting more when the closer I got to 50, because a lot of good things were happening. People were doing nice things for me. I said, man, I must have done something right with these people, So, yes. So you really start having these reflection moments, like, man, thank God that I had the presence of mind to build great relationships. Relationships matter. Relationships with your family, your friends, your business partners, your wife, of course. All these relationships matter, and I think some of the reflecting this week was me just kind of like being in the moment with a lot of good people that I love, and just like, man, they're making a big deal about this, about me turning 50, man. I received this energy. You must have did something right. So it's been crazy, man. I'm just really, it's been a lot, but I realized that you have to put in so much work, you know what I'm saying, to even reflect on this level, and realize that, you don't just turn this on. This is years and years and years, maybe even decades of putting in work with certain people, and then it coming all back to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not even looking for it to come back, but it comes back in different ways. And just a simple brunch with you guys Sunday really meant a lot to me, man. I actually was, I had some tears that I was holding back, being at the table with you and the girls. 'Cause when your kids get grown, they don't really spend as much time with you. But everybody made it to brunch. Everybody was beautiful. We had a great time. It really was a lot to take in at certain moments, but nobody could see my tears, but it was a lot, man. But I attribute a lot of this stuff to a lot of the decisions that I've made, fighting for custody of the kids, getting custody, raising them, marrying an actual life partner. All of these things, man, they come back, and you start to see, the seeds that you planted. Especially marrying you. I mean, marrying someone who actually they could help me raise kids. They love to say that a woman can't raise a boy to be a man. Well, hell, I'm not sure a man can raise girls to be a woman. And so having you and helping me raise the kids and dealing with all of the drama with the custody situation, all of these things, man, when you turning 50, I'm reflecting on all of these life changes. Getting out of trucking, trucking was my comfort zone. I was phenomenal at it, and I made a pretty good living. I have no gripes about trucking, but knowing that I wanted more out of life. Some of my friends would tell me, Don, why are you driving trucks, man? I think one of my best friends, he said, Don, you could do a little bit more with your life. I don't even know what he meant by that. I was like, man, I'm driving trucks. I'm making good money, man. I'm happy with that. But like just making other changes in life and just totally reversing course, going from trucking to the financial industry. That's a drastic change. But I'm reflecting on all these decisions and how they got me to this point of where in life I can like soak all this up. And when I'm talking to younger guys or even older guys, like the decisions that you make, man, at some point, that harvest is going to come. And and hopefully it was a harvest that hopefully it's the harvest that you want, but you have to put in so much work, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's important for people to understand, even, sitting here and talking to you, you've opened my eyes, to quite a bit, because to someone on the outside looking in, of course I've shared, 15 years of your experience of life with you, but I don't know about those years beyond when I came into the picture. But I think on the outside looking in, someone may look at it like, oh, this man must have made all the right decisions. He just, for him to say that he's in cruise control, his life's in cruise control, and, his life is so great. And I think it's important for people to understand that the mistakes are honestly what makes and shapes us into the people that we are, because of how we deal with those mistakes. A lot of times it's easy when something comes up, it's easy to blame someone else or something else, for something. But when you can take accountability and say, okay, I don't like this and I want to fix it. Let me figure out how I can fix it. Because what you do now, it seems like what you're saying, what you did in the past, then kind of built up to your end result of what you have now, good and bad.
Listen, man, even the energy, man, like I'm big on energy, man.
Yeah.
I'm big on that, man. Because people will give you bad energy and you realize that energy really has no effect on you until you respond with bad energy. Like if someone gives you bad energy and you respond bad energy, bad and bad equals bad. But if someone gives you bad energy and you respond positively, it's like literally like they don't have anything else for you.
Yeah, it's almost like you can cancel it.
You can cancel it out, man, because you're actually in control over whether or not you have a bad day or a bad week or a bad moment. I mean, like,
yes.
And I think that's like I said before, it's been a lot of practice. I've always been somebody that was brutally honest. Then I realized I can be honest without being brutal. So I'm at this point in my life where I'm realizing I can talk straight to people that I do business with, people that I'm doing life with, which is you, people that my family, my brothers, my mom, my sister, my children. I don't have to be brutal, but I can still be honest. And I always wore a badge of honor, like, man, I'm brutally honest, man. But nah, man, because sometimes when you're brutal, you hurt people. Brutality, honesty doesn't have to be a form of brutality. And I'm reflecting on some of these decisions that I've made to kind of like move different. And I think that's the biggest thing about being 50 for me, just reflecting on some of these decisions to move differently, even how I deal with people, how I respond to things. You know, by nature, I am a alpha male for sure. I am big dog, no doubt about that. I'm that guy, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes, man, you know, I have to, you know what I'm saying, like make sure it's palatable for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that my energy is something that, you know, everybody can receive, because ultimately I want to be effective. Right.
Yes.
So it ain't just about being brutally honest. It's like I want to be brutally effective. You know what I'm saying? I want to get the point across to the kids, my business partners, my wife, anybody I'm coming across. I want to get the point across. I want to be effective. And so all this reflection at age 50 is a culmination of all these things coming together. And I'm just trying to, I'm just looking where I made some really good adjustments at in life. And I'm really proud of those adjustments, man, because I could just stand on the way I'm acting or the way I was acting. But I just realized, man, you had to, you know, I ain't gonna say his name, but my mentor said something to me years ago. He said, Don, man, you're more likable. And I was just like, I was almost offended, but not because he said I was more likable, but because I'm not trying to be likable. I wasn't trying to be likable. I'm just trying to be Donald Doe. And if people like Donald Doe, congratulations. But I'm not really, I wasn't trying to be likable. I was just
being you.
I was just being Donald, which I'm Donald Doe Jr. My dad was Donald Doe Sr. My dad was a straight shooter. He didn't really care about your feelings. And, you know, I can be a better version of that, right? I've learned that, you know, there's a lot of great things you can take from other people, including your parents, and you can just make it better, right? So I can be that guy without, you know, hurting everybody's feelings, you know, and so I appreciate that, man. So I don't know, man. I mean, reflecting on, because I made these adjustments prior to turning 50 is what I'm saying. Like, you start making these adjustments, and then you start to see the rewards of these adjustments. And I think at 50, that's the biggest thing that I appreciate. I'm looking back and saying, man, look at the rewards of some of these adjustments. You know, being an extrovert, just being honest without being brutally honest. Just want to be effective. You know, and I'm always going to be the guy that's going to have something to say. If there's something that needs to be said, I don't want to waste words, but if there's something that needs to be said, then I'm going to say it because I care about where we're going. I care about the people that I'm doing business with, the people that I love. I have to say something, but I can say it in a way that it can be received, a way that is palatable. So yeah, so that's something that I've learned. But one thing also, if you read enough books, reading books is not about, for me, reading books is about learning how to read people, right? Because if you can learn how to read people, the world is yours. So, you know, anytime I'm talking, I try to read the room and see what people need and what's the energy and what's the mindset of the room, and kind of go from there. Even dealing with you, I mean, I try to make sure that I'm aware of, you know, your energy for the day, or, you know, what you may or may not need, and kind of meet you there. Same thing with the kids. But all that comes with growth, man. So the biggest thing for me for being 50 is just looking back on all these years where I've made some mistakes and I've made some adjustments. And now I'm looking at the finished product, not finished like it's done, but I'm looking at it like, man, this is a good product. Like we can do something with this product. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned.
That's great. That's great. When I tell you, oh man, I just feel so lucky that I can even, you know, experience you every day, because I grow from you. You know what I'm saying? I see your growth. I see how you look into things. I see how you value growth. And I can honestly say I didn't always value growth because I didn't know what I was looking at, you know, but I think once a person understands what they're looking at and they're able to truly look at themselves in the mirror and say, I'm doing great at this, but I still got to work on that, you know, and then actively working on it. Later on in life, when they get to their 50s, they should be able to say some of the same things that you're saying, you know?
Well, here's the thing about leadership that I learned. Whether you, and I remember Charles Barkley was one of my favorite ball players. back in the day, he said he wasn't a role model. But here's the thing: you don't get to decide whether or not you're a role model or not. You don't even get to decide whether or not you're a leader or not.
Yeah.
That's why when some people come to me and say I'm ready for leadership, I'm like, no, you're not. You don't get to. Nobody's following you, so you're just taking a walk. So the thing about leadership is that people are looking at you and you don't even know it. You know what I'm saying? So you're always on display. And I know in my household, I know with my family, I know that y'all are looking at me. So when you're constantly being looked at, you have to make sure that, that everything you do is duplicatable. And a lot of that, of course, in business, everything I do, I make sure is duplicatable. Everything I do with the kids, when it comes to teaching them about financial literacy, I would always hear things like some parents growing up, not growing up, but when I was raising young kids, and some of their friends' parents would buy them brand new cars and all this other kind of stuff. And I would just tell my kids, my job is not to give you a car. My job is to teach you how to get it yourself. My job is to teach you financial literacy. My job is to make sure that you understand how money works. If I want to give my kids something that my parents never gave me, I'm gonna give them the gift of financial literacy.
Yes.
So all of these things, and I started seeing these things kind of, playing out, for my kids, in the way they move and the way they handle stuff. Stuff makes me proud. I mean, not that they don't make mistakes, because one thing you learn about life, no matter how much you tell your kids, they're gonna make mistakes, because no matter how much I was told, I still made mistakes. Even in business, when I talk to brokers, I was like, hey, this is what you got to do. Some of them still go out here and make bad mistakes because they have to see for themselves. Everyone, for whatever reason, everyone has to see for themselves. It's like a car accident, right? You might tell somebody, hey, man, there's a wreck up here. Just keep going and you'll get on through it. They still going to slow down and take a look at it. Everybody wants to look at the accident. Bruh, they told you it was an accident up here. I don't know what you're looking at, but like everybody has to slow down and take a look at it. So that's kind of how it is with kids, man. But the reflection piece of this has really meant a lot to me, because that reflection is me looking back on my work. It's me looking back on the decisions that I've made, and looking back on the growth. And I'm grateful for that growth, because that growth is why I can reflect and be happy about what I'm seeing, and still continue to grow upon that, right? I mean, because it's all about continuous growth.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you this, to just kind of sum everything up, because that was wonderful. So how important would you say it is? Let me see how I want to frame this, because growth and gratitude is very important, because you should be grateful for where you are and where you are going. How important would you say that is to someone in regards to how important being aware of your growth or lack thereof is in your life? Because there's no set age where you're supposed to just get it all right. But how important is that you make sure that you are growing? Because we need to grow. We're not going to get any better if we're not growing. And then being gracious and showing gratitude towards that, because we all know the things that we don't appreciate are, as quickly as they come, it can go.
Yeah, man. First of all, man, I definitely want to make sure that I say that just because you're 50 does not mean that you grew or you learned anything. I'm grateful for all these experiences, and I think that everybody should be. You need to be grateful for your losses and your wins. Yes. And honestly, man, if you're in your 20s and your 30s, be grateful that you're losing early. Take those losses out the way and learn from them. Take those losses, get them out the way. One of the best decisions that I ever made was I divorced my first wife. And it sounds bad. This is not picking on her. I'm just speaking in general here. Like, I got divorced when I realized the situation wasn't going to work. I got out of it in my early 30s. I think I was like 31 years old. The only thing worse than getting out of a bad marriage, one day too late is getting out of it 2 days too late. So you want to get out of this thing as quickly as possible and start the rest of your life. That's the same thing with business opportunities or whatever. You realize something isn't working, you need to get out of that thing as quickly as possible. and I probably stayed in it longer than what I should have. Like I say, it's no reflection on her, it was a reflection on me. You know what I'm saying? It was a reflection on me. I mean, I didn't even know who I was. Right. And in life, when you start to realize you don't know who you are, and then you're with someone else who is still trying to figure out who they are, man, both of y'all together just trying to, it's a bad situation, man. But getting out of that with so much life left was great. And so I would tell any young person, man, like if you're in a situation, relationship, job, whatever, and you realize you want more out of life, get out of that thing as quickly as you can. Get out of it as quickly as you can so that you have a lot more time to kind of focus on some other things. Things that give you more purpose and make you feel good about life, man. Life is short for some people and it's long for others. People love to say life is short. Life is not short for everybody.
That's right.
If you're not living the life you want to live, that life is long as hell.
Yeah.
Right. And, and I've been in situations where my life felt long, whether it was a job that I needed to get out of, whether it was a relationship I needed to get out of, but my life felt long. It felt like it was never going to end.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good because I think a lot of times people don't think about these particular aspects of things until somebody says it. Yeah. And then when they say it, it's like, you know what, that makes perfect sense. Because I can even think about myself, things that I did in my 20s and 30s, I would have never thought of doing now because I know the repercussions, So when you know better, you
definitely do better.
That's right.
You're supposed to do
You're supposed
better.
to.
Because everybody, that doesn't, because some folks don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know. Maybe if they knew, maybe they would do better, but they don't, they're not aware. That's good.
Yeah. So I mean, I just think that it's amazing. I definitely wanted to celebrate you on 50 years because I just, when I look at you, I know I've seen the growth from, us meeting all the way up to now. And you've affected so many people's lives. You know what I'm saying? You have. I really think that you have. You make that face, but you have, because if you did not, you wouldn't have had so many people celebrating you. So many people, you would think it was their birthday, but everybody's, oh, Donald Doe, Facebook is blowing up with all these long chapters about how you are such an amazing person. And I think that people should be celebrated. You know what I'm saying? People are not perfect, but I definitely do feel like you should be celebrated. That way you truly know how people feel, because you think you might be making an impact on somebody, but you never know until it comes out of their mouths, And I think what makes you so valuable is that you're not scared to share the good, bad, and the ugly of just life and growing up and maturing and getting past mistakes and becoming a man, or in my case, becoming a woman, becoming who you need to be. The person that you
so to answer your question, when you talk about like people celebrating me, I'm sitting there just thinking and reflecting, because you're catching me off guard with that question. That was pretty cool. For instance, my brother, both of my brothers, shout out to Malcolm and Austin, because they both put posts on Facebook. And because I know these guys, like, it's funny when you know people, when you read their stuff, you know that it's real. You know that it's like, because they've said it to you before. So it's just, but I don't know, man. It really touched me, just reading what they put on social media. Because they don't just put stuff on social media for attention. They put it on it because it's like, this is what they believe. So when I was reading, Austin, it made me drop a tear. Because you're just doing what you feel like you're supposed to be doing in life, and then it affects other people. And then when they express it, here's the thing about life. We always think that we're having impact. That's why I talk to people about leadership. Like, just because you think you're a leader does not mean you are. People will let you know whether or not you're a leader or not. You don't get to dictate that. And so, so when they said these things to me, I mean, I was like, man, okay, these guys are watching how I move in life, family, business, all these things. And which I've known that. I mean, they've expressed that before, but I guess with all the outpouring of love, yesterday on social media, it really just kind of like, it really hit me, especially because I was at brunch with you and the kids when I saw Austin's post specifically, and I was like, man, that was a lot to take in. Um, you know, when people view you as a leader, you're always on display. You know, whether you want to be on display or not, they're watching all of your moves, good, bad. They're watching it all, man. And you know, I didn't necessarily sign up for leadership like, hey, I'm a leader, you know, and that's life, family, and business. Like I didn't necessarily decide that I was someone that anybody should follow, right? But someone else decided, hey, we need to duplicate what this guy is doing in other people. I didn't decide that. And that's the thing about leadership that I try to tell other people, man. Like, let somebody else identify you being worthy of duplication. Because a lot of times you can't even see what you're doing, right? But other people can. And they're the ones that are going to decide whether or not you're a leader or not. It doesn't matter who you think you are. Because if nobody's following you, you're not leading anything. So someone else has to decide that you're a leader. It's never going to be you, you know? And so other people decided that I was someone worthy of following. And I think, like I said, you know, turning 50 and reflecting on a lot of these things, I think those are the things, I think, you know, that the reflection piece, even in business, you know, like with our entire group and organization, I mean, just it's the outpouring of love and support has really been amazing. And I've had to receive all of that. Like you've done something good. I'm not the one that will say, oh, I did this, I did that. Other people tell me like, hey, you affected me in this way. You know, I appreciate you this way. And, you know, I had to receive that, you know, so, but I'm just trying to continue to be me. You know, when I check out of here, I just want to make sure that when I check out, I left it all out. I left it all out there. Yeah. You know, I was the best father. Let me back up. I was the best husband because I had to do things in order. I was the best husband. I was the best father, and I was the best businessman, philanthropist, you know, supporter, community activist, anything that I can do to help out, that I did all of these things. I want to make sure that when I'm done, you know, I'm good. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I want to feel good about everything that I did in this life. And so it's been a lot of reflection, you know, and continuing to grow, man. Like I said, I hate when people say life is short because I just feel like it's not short for everybody. But I do feel like our years have flown by very fast because we're doing a lot. Yeah. And when you're doing a lot, life is very fast. You know, it just kind of zooms by, you know, and you feel like you never have enough time. But there are some people who are not doing anything and they feel like they got too much time, right? But for me, it does feel like the days go by very, very, very quickly. Weeks, months, years go by very quickly because we're trying to get so much in. And even when we get all these things in, I feel like, man, I didn't get everything in. You know, I still feel like I didn't. Man, I wanted to get this in too. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. So my brothers, man, shout out to my brothers, man. Like these dudes, man. I'm proud to be their older brother. I really am, man. Growing up, man. My parents raised 5 boys and 1 girl, and a lot of my mom's friends would say, "Oh, those boys are bad. They're this or that," you know. And my mom and my dad didn't play those games, man. So he probably cursed them out or something. But my mom, you know, being a good Christian woman, she just kind of just took it. But like all of her children and are taking care of business, raising families. My brothers have done an amazing job stepping up to be fathers, you know, and learning from those experiences, man, making mistakes. But I'm proud of those dudes, man. I'm proud of my sister. Proud of my mom and my dad. All the good, all the bad, man. I embrace it all. As a parent, you want your children to be better than you, right? So my children they've seen the bad, they've seen the good, you know, and their job is to be better. You know, I want my kids to be financially secure, financially literate, and they are way faster than me. It took me a long time The first book I ever read on finances was Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. And I read that back in 2006. And, I was, yeah, I mean, I should have been reading a book like that, in my early 20s, but,
But your mindset had to be there too.
my
I know a lot of books that I read that, just totally went over my head that I read now. And I'm like, oh my God, if I just would have paid attention and realized the value of this back then, so there's a time and a place for everything, and that's the exhibition of growth. Because you start to find, or you start to realize the value that's been around you all this time that you did not partake of until now.
Wow. No, you were 100% right. When I read Total Money Makeover back in 06, man, I wasn't in a place to build wealth. And I always tell people, man, like when it comes to building wealth, you have to free up cash to be able to do that. And so when you got a lot of bad debt, Total Money Makeover is not going to help you build wealth, but it will help you free up some cash so that you can make some investments, so that you can build some wealth. And that's what I learned back in 06. That I had a lot of bad debt. I was making a lot of impulse buys. I was not a student of delayed gratification. Mm-hmm. Now I'm a master of delayed gratification. There's a lot of things that we can have that we don't have because we are students of delayed gratification. But when I was younger, I was not a student of delayed gratification. I didn't want any parts of that. I'm making XYZ amount of income that I need to go out and buy this brand new Mercedes off the showroom floor because I can do that. You know what I'm saying? Ball out, fall out. So, but no, man, just I'm grateful for all these growth lessons. And you're right. You have to be ready. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad probably a few years after reading Total Money Makeover, but I was ready for it. Mm-hmm. Right. And
that Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert
Kiyosaki.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. So that book.
It's a good book.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal book, man. But like you're right. Sometimes I refer books to the kids, but I try to refer them books that are where they are. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because if I refer you something on wealth and you're still trying to free up cash to even make investments, it's not really going to hit you the same. So... so you're right. That's a great point, man. Because even when I refer books to the brokers, that are contracted with us, I try to refer books based on where they are in the process, right? Whether it's a sales book, whether it's a finance book, whether it's confidence, motivation. It just depends on what they need and where they are in the process, man. So when you read books that are not applicable to where you are or where you're trying to go in your growth process, man, it doesn't really hit you the same. So there's steps to all of this. And so the biggest thing I look at when it comes to me turning 50 is all the steps, right? Getting married young, getting divorced, starting over. And sometimes we stay in things in life because there's a fear of starting over. And so when I reflect on a lot of things, we got into insurance 6 years ago. It seems like it's been a long time, but it really hasn't. And what I love about it, just like I told a broker at a meeting that we were at one time, she told me, "Oh, I'm more successful than y'all because I've been doing insurance for I don't know how many years," she said. And I made it very clear to her. I said, "Listen, I'm not trying to do it the longest. I'm trying to do it the best. Me and you have two different agendas, so you're never going to outwork me. Never. That's never going to happen. And then on top of that, I have my wife. So it's going to be hard to beat us because we think the exact same." so you got Big Dog and Miss Big Dog.
That's right.
So yeah, man. So and I say that to say that, man, and that's really my thing. Like I just want to do it the best. I'm not trying to get an award for doing something for 20 years. Oh, look at me. I've been married 20 years. What was it good? I've been in business 20 years, but was it good? Were you successful?
Yeah.
That's all I care about at this point in my life. I realized that that's where I drove trucks for 20 years, man. I used to tell people, I drove trucks 20 years, but what did you get out of it? I really didn't get a lot out of it, to be honest. I did learn business, from a basic level. I was a sole proprietor, so I learned some business skills at a very low level, but ultimately I didn't really get a lot out of that. So people ask me about trucking, I said, I drove trucks for 20 years. I don't focus on the successes because I really, looking back on it and reflecting, I really wasn't that successful. I didn't scale it. I wasn't even protecting myself because I didn't even have an LLC. I could have had a bad accident and killed somebody, and everything that I worked for would have been gone because everything's my personal name. So, so I'm more so concerned now about just being the best, focusing on that instead of focusing on how long my marriage. I'm never going to be the guy on social media saying, "Oh, shout out to me, it's my 14th anniversary." Nah, man, 1 year with you was worth 2 or 3 decades with someone that I'm miserable with. So I don't focus on years. I focus on the quality of life, the quality of my marriage and my partnership. So that's in business. That's with you. That's even with the kids. These moments, man, I focus on giving everything to these moments. And so being 50 is just a reflection of all of these things. Saying, man, this has been a good run. There's been some mistakes, and the people that point those mistakes out about me, they don't know me anymore. And and so they're basically telling you about a Donald Doe that they don't even know anymore, and probably that guy didn't even know himself. So if you're someone from the past talking about Donald Doe, you don't know me, and the time that you thought you knew me, I didn't even know myself. So you're probably seeing a representative. But just looking back on all these things, man, that's why I say, man, reflecting, man. Reflection is one of those things that a lot of people don't really take time to do because there's a lot of things that you may have thought you were at a certain point in your life, and then you get more mature and look back on them and start reflecting and be like, man, ooh, what was I doing?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the biggest thing about where I am right now with the growth and the gratitude of being 50, just to reflect on all of this stuff.
That's good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shoot, drop the mic. Amazing. Well, I mean, I've enjoyed this. I don't know about you all. I've enjoyed this. We can go on and on. I mean, but I'll let you close us out. What would you like to leave everyone with?
Listen, man, my biggest thing is that, like, you want your life to be short. You want to live a life where you did everything you wanted to do. You wanted to be short. You wanted to zoom by. The people that I look up to the most, my father, my big cousin Rick, my Uncle B. These people, they lived a life. Every time you saw them, they were smiling. They were happy. They were the life of the party. Their life kind of flew by. And that's the life that I want. I want my life to fly by because that means I was living. That means I did everything I wanted to do with my wife, my children, my business, the people within my business. I was a giver. I was someone that gave, and that's where the fulfillment comes from when it comes to me being able to give, man, being able to give to my kids, my wife, my business partners, brokers, employees, with our company, man, just giving. You want your life to fly by. Yeah. I'm grateful to say that 50 seemed like it got here kind of quick.
It did.
Yeah, it did. And I'm good. I'm good with that. It means I lived a life that was pretty full. And my job is to make that life 2 times as full, and because I want the next 20, 30 years or whatever to go by very quickly. You know what I'm saying? Because that means I did a lot. So, yeah, man, just wake up every day and live your life, man. Walk in your truth, unapologetically. Build relationships. Relationships are everything. I'm where I am with everything because of relationships. Even something as simple as fighting for custody of the kids. I had my Uncle Bobby, God rest his soul, man. I know he's passed now, but he helped me. He helped me out immensely. My parents were married for almost 50 years. They couldn't really relate to what I was going through a divorce and a custody battle, but my Uncle Bobby could, and I love him for that. I will always love him for that. relationships, man. He's my uncle, but he wasn't obligated to share vital information with me, about his experiences, man. Like when people ask me stuff, I will draw from my experiences, my failures, and I would share it with them in a heartbeat. Because here's the thing that I learned about life is that the things that I've been through, if I tell them to you, they can't hurt me. I've already been through it. I failed. So there's no way it's going to hurt me by sharing something with you. It can only help you. Oh, well, people going, oh, they know your business. No, I don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? I've been through the business. So it's good. Whatever it was, it doesn't matter. I've been through it. It can't hurt me. The only time things hurt you is when you walk around here and you act like they didn't happen. You don't acknowledge them. You don't grow from them. People that talk about their pain, they can grow from it because they talked about it, they dealt with it, and they kept going. Your pain only hurts you when you ignore it. But when you address it, you can tell other people about it and keep it going because you address it. So, and that's one of the another biggest things I learned about life, just reflecting on some of these things, man. Like anything that I've gone through, whether it's custody, divorce, having a phenomenal marriage to you, talking to other guys, even about that, what that looks like. I said, man, you need to find you a woman that you evenly yoke with. She got to want the same thing you want. If you're financially responsible, is she financially responsible? Because if she wants to spend money and you trying to build a business, it's not going to work. And once you realize it's not going to work, get out of it as quickly as possible. The only thing worse than staying in a bad marriage for one day is staying in one 2 days. Get out of it. Okay, I'm sorry. That's my advice to these guys, man. Women too. You know what I'm saying? When you realize it's not going to work, it's not going to work. You can't, if you're not evenly yoked, you're not evenly yoked. You can't make that work. You can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't change the piece. The piece is what the piece is. So when you realize the piece is not going to fit and it's something that you can't get past, don't pretend to get past it. Yeah. You get past it by getting out of it, and making sure that you have the rest of your life to live the life that you want to live with someone who you're evenly yoked with. So I tell these guys, man, they ask me, well, how'd you get Michael such a good woman? Yes, she is. She was in the interview process. I interviewed her. I mean, I wanted to make sure that I knew what I was getting. And so that's why I say turning 50 is a reflection on all these things, man. Dating you, making sure that you were going to be good with the kids, making sure that you were going to be good with what I was trying to do as far as getting custody. All these things, man, they add up. So when you reflect on these things, business, I was in trucking for a long time, like I already alluded to on this podcast, but like getting out of that, leaving a 6-figure income, just saying, okay, now I'm good. I'm going to take a chance on insurance, and then having you support that, never once feeling any kind of like doubt. It's almost like I had shown you who I was and you were willing to follow, even quit your job. So it's been a great ride, man, getting into business and growing and scaling, hiring people, having a real payroll and just now wake up every day making sure that we're profitable so we can help other people take care of their families. Yeah. So it's one thing to be able to take care of my family, but now I'm responsible for making sure other people can feed their families. And so all of this stuff at 50, I'm just reflecting on all of these things. There's been some major changes really in a short period of time. But I'm grateful for all of it, man. So there's a lot of gratefulness in all of these things, man. So yeah, man. So I would just tell anybody in life, go out here and do what you want to do sooner rather than later. The only thing that's going to happen if you wait is that you're going to get older. That's it. Nothing else is going to happen. Everything that I've ever done in life, I wasn't ready to do it. Right? I was never ready. I just went out and I did it and I became ready. I became who I needed to be. I was not who I needed to be. I became who I needed to be. And everybody is constantly becoming who they need to be where they need to be at. Right. But here's the thing, you may not know where you need to be, but you definitely know where you don't need to be at. Right. Somebody listening to this right now is some place where they don't need to be. They may not know where they need to be. I didn't know when I got a divorce that I was going to meet a Michael Doe. Well, Michael McKinney. I had no idea, but I did know I didn't need to be where I was. That much I did know. And sometimes just knowing that, is all you need to know. So And that's the same thing, go with jobs, all of this stuff. I knew that trucking was, I made good money, but I needed purpose. I need to wake up and feel good about what I'm doing. And I couldn't do that with trucking. I was just making money. There's people out there right now that have a job, they're making money, and they're happy about making money, but they don't have that purpose. And I needed purpose. I needed to wake up and feel good. I wanted to wake up without an alarm clock because I feel good about what I'm doing, who I'm helping, who I'm around. Yeah. And so, yeah, you seem like you want to say something about that. Go ahead.
No. I'm with you. 100%. 'Cause I just feel like when you're younger, you're selfish. And as you start to learn about yourself and learn about your wants and your needs and where you're trying to go, that selfish kind of starts to wean down, and selfless starts to kind of get ahead. Like, I've never been married or anything like that, but I can only imagine if I'm in a marriage and it's a bad marriage and we have children, I got to start thinking, of course, selfish me would be like, I'm going to stay here because I don't want nobody to know what's going on. I want everybody to think everything is perfect. But then you got to start thinking about your kids and how this may affect them, not just you, but how it may affect them and things like that. A work situation, business, personal life, period. You start to think about someone other than yourself. And when you start to do that, that's when you can start to be able to kind of begin your evolution of what and where you're trying to be. But of course, when we're young, we only think about ourselves, and what makes us feel good.
Man, you up here dropping jewels, man. Listen, man, I knew I had to get out of my first marriage when I realized that it was selfish for me to stay in it. Mm-hmm. The most unselfish thing that I did was getting out of it because it was affecting my ability to be a good father and to be a good person. When you're in these situations that are toxic, and you contribute to the toxicity. So it's not like a one-sided thing. When you're in a toxic relationship, you become toxic too, and you can't be the person you need to be. I knew I couldn't be the father that I needed to be, and so holding on to a situation just for the sake of holding on, so I could say, oh man, we've been through a lot together. Listen, man, I'm going to tell you something about having a true partner in life. You don't go through a lot together as far as bad stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's not a badge of honor. Oh man, we're always fighting. Oh, but we still together. That's not what you want out of life. You don't have to have that. You should be coming home to peace, right? You should be coming home to tranquility. And, but sometimes in life, you're right. We're selfish. We're doing things for all the wrong reasons. We don't want to look a certain way. I'm the oldest out of 6 kids. So I didn't want to be a failure because I know they were looking at me like, man, but I was the first one to get a divorce. And also the first one to show my brothers like, hey, this is what you can have, man. This is what's out here for you. You know what I'm saying? If you become better and then you find someone who also was actually better and y'all kind of are on the same wavelength, man, learn from those failures, man. So yeah, man, thank you for sharing that, Mike. Actually, that was a lot, baby. We are very selfish when we're young. Yeah. Yeah, we are very selfish.
And we care a lot about what other people think of us.
Yeah, we really do.
It's a big pride thing. But as you get older.
Yeah, man. No, man. Yeah, man.
With pride. Yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I messed up.
I did it.
I messed up, Ann.
Yeah, I did it, man. I made those mistakes, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not even embarrassed. It's like you feel free to share it. Because I want to stop you from doing it.
For sure, man. Like, you want to see everybody win.
Yes.
I'm at this point in life, I want everybody to, let me correct that. I want to see everybody win that wants to win.
That wants to win, that's right.
Right? If you want to win, man, I want you to win.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's a different level now, man. So, yeah, man, I think that's probably the legacy level. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You just want to just really help other people as much as you can, your children, anybody you're partnering with. Your spouse, you just want to help people around you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, man, this is going to conclude the episode of
Growth and Gratitude.
Growth and Gratitude. Free Game Don D, life, family, and business.